This is KC Sports Tonight.
And there we go. Welcome into KC Sports Tonight. Marleah, Campbell here with a special guest today. We have kind of a rare circumstance where Neil Jones, Scott Reese, and Jared Kohler are all off. So I am taking the reins and invited a good friend, Bethany Bowman, to join me today to talk all those topics on the right there. Busy day, training camp, Trent McDuffie's special event we were both at this morning. College football preview. Sounds like it's a far way away, but it'll be here closer than you think. And a big series for the Royals on the road. Bethany, I have some of your myriad of things that you do on the screen there, but just to get us started, can you kind of tell us about what you do here in Kansas City and a little bit about your background?
Yeah, just started this job in August at Sports Radio 810 WHB and having a lot of fun doing it, as well as 810 Varsity, so still some high school coverage. And the D2 Nation thing has taken a little break, but since I did go to a D2 school in Emporia State, had a little podcast going with Wayne Cavati of NCAA Division II. He does a lot of great work, so had a lot of fun doing that as well. So just like to dip into a lot of different things, and it's been great being here in Kansas City.
Awesome. There we go. Is that okay? Sorry. Brief interruption. Back to regularly scheduled programming. So, Bethany, you and I actually met back at both of our first jobs. That was your first job too, right? Over in Emporia?
Yeah. Emporia State, kind of an internship / first job. So that was fun. Got to see you a lot when you came down to Emporia State events and covered the Turnpike Tussle, things like that. So it was a lot of fun. Yeah, so I was the sports director over in Topeka. We covered Emporia State a lot. We had kind of the same region, so you and I got to meet and become friends that way, and then it's been cool to both end up in Kansas City. Yeah. And remind folks where you're from, and then you were a college athlete as well, right? Yep, from Emporia, Kansas, actually. So then after that, spent a couple years at Barton Community College in Great Bend, Kansas. A lot of people think that's way out west. It's actually not. Once you start playing, Goodland and Seward County, things like that, liberal. So not too far west out there, but did 2 years of that, track and basketball, and then came back to Emporia State, finished out with 2 years of track and field.
Awesome. Love fellow athletes here. I myself played basketball at University of Wyoming, then came back here to Topeka, but I'm from Kansas City, so definitely love living here, and I know you do as well. I was really excited when I heard this past year that you were coming up here, and now we see each other at everything, which brings us to our next topic. Chiefs training camp. We got the dates yesterday. You can see them right here. It starts July 21st, which is crazy. That's 33 days away. So we're a month away from training camp. And it's going to wrap up on August 15th, which, yeesh. I remember training camp as long. I mean, this is my 4th or 5th time covering it, but that is a long time. That is a long time in St. Joe. It's very hot out there, but it's a ton of fun. Bethany, I know this is your first training camp you're going to cover. Is that right? What are you looking forward to most?
I think just getting out there and getting to see the guys kind of before that game setting. So like I said, I haven't been able to be up here before the season and for training camp yet, so that's going to be exciting. It's going to be hot, but I do like the hot weather. I know we were talking about that off camera a little bit. It's going to get a little toasty in the July and August months, but it should be a lot of fun, and I'm excited for it.
I want to talk about some of the position battles we're looking at going into camp, but a quick side tangent before that is training camp gives us our first real look at these guys. I mean, we had OTAs, we had mandatory mini camp. That is all without pads, just kind of in shells, walk through stuff, some light drills. You can't really get a feel for who you're looking at. It's our first chance to see some of these rookies in person. Jared Wiley is just as tall as advertised. I mean, goodness gracious, probably 6'5", true 6'5", 6'6". So that gives us our first chance to see these guys in person. We get to talk to some of them on the podium for the first time. We heard from Kingsley Sumatayeo, we heard from Xavier Worthy, but we don't get to really see them in live action. That all goes out the window in training camp. It's, the first couple practices are kind of easing into it, but eventually we get to full pads. We get to watch them 7-on-7 drills. So it gets to be a really fun time of the year for us. And, it just, St. Joe is a really special place. You went to a D2, so you know how these kind of the small college towns just have this really fun vibe to it. The team stays in the dorms. But I'll add an asterisk to that, which is last year, one of the position battles we were looking at the most was the wide receiver room. And I think if you listen to anybody, any Chiefs podcast, any kind of content from last year, everyone said Sky Moore's going to have a breakout season because he played really well at training camp. He appeared to be Patrick Mahomes' #1 guy. turns out that didn't really come to fruition. He had kind of a quiet season. So we'll see how training camp goes this year. But Bethany, I'm curious, kind of a position group or two where you're going to have your eyes focused on down in St. Joe.
Well, I think you're right. The wide receivers you definitely can't turn a blind eye to because there's a long list of guys. And when you look at that list, it's like who's going to be the odd man out because I don't think that right now they can keep all of those wide receivers on the roster. But of course, Xavier Worthy, we haven't really got to see him yet because he's been sidelined during OTAs and rookie minicamp, those type of things. And it's just a hamstring tweak. I know you don't want to be taking any chances.
I think they're being
with
cautious
like
with
that.
It just with the time of year.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But I'm excited to see what he can do because there's so much hype around him, obviously, first round pick, and that speed you can't coach. I mean, that's insane. So to be able to see him on the field and like in live action is going to be really great. I'm hoping we can get to that in training camp, and I'm sure this next month of kind of downtime is going to be crucial for him to getting his body right. But again, like you said, Sky Moore, I mean, Justin Watson had a lot of big plays throughout the Super Bowl run, and he's another one. And then as well as Rashee Rice, you know, we're still kind of looking at, is he going to be playing this season? Is there going to be a suspension? I mean, there's so many questions with that group, but kind of how you mentioned Sky Moore playing well in training camp last year and then not having maybe as big of a season as a lot of people expected. Sports are kind of about that opportunity. It's like, who's going to step up when the timing's right? It's about timing. It's about, you know, if somebody goes down, is this kind of your week to step up? And that might solidify your spot then moving forward. So this wide receiver group is going to have to be on their A game at all times, I think, with such a loaded room. And it's going to be interesting to see who kind of comes up at the top as we start to get near the preseason games and into the official start of the season.
Yeah, I think it's interesting. You nailed it on the head. There's kind of this group of guys that have their kind of solidified role. Justin or McCall Hardman, a staple guy. You know you're getting in him, the veteran coming back. Rashee Rice is kind of a question mark. We don't know about a potential suspension coming down the wire. I think the Chiefs put in a little bit of a security blanket in choosing a wide receiver in the first round for the first time in the Brett Veach era. Hollywood Brown, Patrick Mahomes has said he's going to have a breakout season. I like to take his word for it. We haven't seen him much in person, but again, you can imagine that he's going to be the number one, number two guy. But there are some openings there. Again, we mentioned the Rashee Rice issue. He was the team's number one receiver last year by the end of the season, outside of Travis Kelce. But in that wide receiver room, he was the number one guy. We don't know what this guy's going to look like this upcoming season. MVS is gone. I mean, he was a guy that didn't have a lot of production in the regular season, but he was certainly on the field nearly every snap, was really productive in the postseason. He's not here anymore. I am excited to see. I think this is a really, really big camp for one guy in particular, and that is Kadarius Toney, because we saw what happened last year. He made some spectacular plays, but he also had a lot of critical, crucial drops, errors. I think about that. What was it, the Bills game where he had the, ended up costing the team the game. Allegedly. I mean, you can point back to a million things, but that certainly seemed
okay. You can say
under the magnifying glass. Yeah. So he's had a lot of technical errors that have really frustrated, one, this fan base, but two, visibly the coaching staff. So, but on the other side of the coin, I don't think there's a, and the coaching staff has said this, I don't think there's a guy with more of an upside that's kind of fighting for a roster spot or a spot in the rotation than Kadarius Toney. I mean, Veach and Andy Reid have said that he's one of the most athletic guys in the building. So I'm curious to see how this camp goes for him. I think the job is his for the taking. He needs to beat out a first-round rookie. He needs to, beat out a couple other guys who, are kind of in that 2, 3, 4 spot. But I'm excited. I'm rooting for Toney to have a good season. We know what he's capable of as a former first-round pick. We just haven't seen it consistently come to fruition yet.
Yeah, and this is going to be a big year for him because all these guys are so competitive, right? So you would think that after a season where he did get, a lot of hate for some of those drops, and I mean, I can't imagine being on a stage like that and
in the social media era.
Oh my gosh,
please no. Yeah,
that would be brutal. You look back at maybe some of my playing days, and I'm glad social media wasn't quite a thing because I probably would have got roasted a little bit, whether that be high jumping or playing basketball. But no, you would think that he would this offseason be working very hard to make sure that doesn't happen again, right? So I mean, he has all the tools. He's athletic as heck. Andy Reid, Brett Veach, they obviously see something in him, like you said.
but his hands just need to get better. I mean, some of those drops are crucial. They're costing games, and I think especially this year going into it, the Chiefs are going to need to fight for that number 1 seed. I mean, yes, of course, they won the Super Bowl not being the number 1 seed and were able to go through that playoff run, obviously, and come up and hit their peak at the right time. But in a league that is ever so evolving, and it's going to be really important to get that number 1 seed, you're going to need a guy like Kadarius Toney to play to his potential, which is making those key catches.
Yeah, you certainly need some guys, some playmakers to step up this season. So we'll see what happens on the wide receiver front. I think that was last year and this season, kind of the room that everyone's going to be watching under a microscope, right? A guy drops one pass, and we all freak out over it. It's the nature of the beast.
Next
We're excited excited to see live action down in St. Joe. Another position, real quick, before we move on to our next topic that I'm looking at is left tackle, because Wanya Morris stepped up big time for Donovan Smith last year throughout injury and those kind of things, and played pretty well, especially for a rookie. Now he's coming into his second year. The Chiefs drafted Kingsley Sumatea. Almost got that on my first try. I will do it eventually. For the purpose of bringing in competition. These guys are going to be neck and neck down in St. Joe, and I think that job is going to be decided down there. So, big couple weeks for them too.
Well, I think the thing about the Chiefs too is that, especially in the front office and the coaching staff, they wouldn't mind starting a guy as a rookie like that. I mean, it's his job for the taking if he can prove himself. Now, they're not just going to give it to him, but if he comes into this training camp and has, a great few weeks and you're there at the beginning of the season and, maybe it's a battle still and it comes to the first preseason game or even the first official game before we really get an answer. But he's going to get his opportunities if he earns it. So Kingsley Suamataia, I'm still trying to get the name right and just make sure that I can pronounce it. So it's not been much more past that for me. But I definitely know that he has the ability. Obviously, coming out of college, he is very highly graded. He was, in my opinion, one of the steals of the draft. To get him there in that second round was unbelievable. A lot of people thought he might be a first-round draft pick. So what a steal for the Chiefs. But he said, he's willing to work. And Brett Veach, I believe, has said that yes, they expect him to compete for that spot. If it doesn't work out that way, hey, he's a rookie. He can definitely learn this year and be ready for a big year next year. But I don't think there's any reason why, if he doesn't perform, we might see him in that starting spot.
Yeah, Wanya Morris certainly doesn't want to give that up. So we'll see. We'll see how that goes down in St. Joe. Also looking back the running back position, Isaiah Pacheco, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, kind of the 1 and 2 guys. I think you need one more in that rotation. We saw the Chiefs do it by committee a lot last season. Lots to talk about camp. We're certainly going to get to a lot more of that in the coming weeks.
I'm going to give you a shout out here for producing and
Thank you.
anchoring the show. You're doing a good job.
I told you before this, or you can't see this on the podcast, but it kind of looks like I'm flying an airplane.
You're doing a lot,
But know how to use this enough to move us on to our next topic, which is Trent McDuffie giving back this morning. Bethany, we were both there. Can you kind of tell folks about what was going on?
Yeah, I came into work today, didn't know about it, and got assigned to go out to that, which was a great day booster just to see Trent McDuffie out at Ronald McDonald House Charities of KC, and he brought his hardware, got his 2 Super Bowl rings, and then the kids got to have their ring pops and their toy jewelry, which was a lot of fun. So they got to do autographs and take pictures with Trent, and Trent's kind of a soft-spoken guy, maybe a little shy, I don't know, but he really came out of his shell and was great with the kids, and then of course did our media interviews, and always great to see guys like that with their platform and obviously being on the biggest stage. They just got their rings on Thursday, and he took the time out of his day on this Tuesday afternoon to come over and share some of that with the kids of Ronald McDonald House.
Yeah, and you could tell that meant a lot to him. You and I talked to him afterwards, and he seemed like almost emotional of how important it was for him to be there. He says he's been through a lot in his life, so he doesn't relate to necessarily those kids specifically, but like the concept of overcoming adversity and hardship, that's something he really related to. So a special moment for him today. And what was cool is I talked to a young 15-year-old who was there, and she said, no one wants to be here. We're here because we have to go to the hospital, but stuff like this makes it a little bit better. Like, it makes days a little bit brighter, and I thought that was really sweet. And, as we mentioned, these guys don't have a lot of downtime. I mean, once we hit training camp, it is full speed ahead until hopefully mid-February. And then you get right back on the horse. The good and bad thing about winning a Super Bowl is it's a very short off season. So these guys don't have a lot of time to rest and relax. So it's pretty cool. in this very small window we have of kind of a total radio silence as far as workouts and everything, team organized activities, that he's spending his time getting out into the community. And we've seen a number of players do stuff like that this offseason. Justin Reed just on Monday hosted a golf tournament for his J. Reed Indeed Foundation. And I'll tell you what, everyone was there. I mean, Dave Merritt was there, Dave Tobe, MVS was there, not even with the team anymore. We also had like Lola Bonta was there, Haley Mace, so current players. So and they're in season. So pretty special what this batch of professional athletes in Kansas City are doing for the community as well.
Yeah, no, it's hard for us to imagine too when maybe we're not going through such a life-changing, or just tough time. That these kids, like, that truly is a day maker for them, right?
Yeah.
I mean, they don't have maybe a whole lot some days where they get out, or maybe a whole lot that can brighten their day. But Trent just stopping by, like, that's something those kids are going to say, hey, today was a little bit better, and that's amazing that he does that. And he said today, he doesn't want to just inspire the rookies on the football field and help them grow and learn in that aspect, but he wants to hopefully see some of them as they grow and turn into vets doing these same things. So he's leading by example on and off the field, which is amazing to see.
Yeah, I thought it was fun too. I asked him, he's wearing both of his Super Bowl rings. I put up 3 fingers, both. And I asked him which one is his favorite, and he said the third one, as in the one he doesn't have yet, is the one they're going to get this upcoming season. So I love that mindset. Kind of think it speaks to the Chiefs' mindset overall. Quickly, want to keep powering through this list here. College football. Right around the corner, actually. I mean, we're flying through summer. June 18th is when we are recording this. A couple of months from now, we're going to have very busy weekends. I was talking to Jared yesterday on the show. We have the Chiefs being the Chiefs. We have the Royals for the first time in a very long time, looking at a blue October. The KC Current at the top of the NWSL table. And we have college football, which...
on the horizon.
Right on the horizon. And there you have it. CBS Sports ranking K-State number 2, KU number 3 in the Big 12, Mizzou ranked number 7 in the SEC. Your thoughts on kind of those initial rankings? Obviously, we have a very long time to go. These don't mean anything, but it's a jumping off point to talk a little college football.
Well, I think, we'll start off with the Big 12, 2 very well-deserved rankings. So K-State maybe didn't quite play to their potential, I thought, last season. Obviously, several games that were decided by a couple plays or, just a touchdown or two where things could have swung either way. So I think K-State, if they're able to finally have that season under Coach Kleiman where it's like, hey, this is kind of the team that has played to the standard, or, going into the season, hey, we thought it was going to be here, and hey, we're actually living up to it. Could be this year, and so I'm excited for K-State. And KU, of course, under Coach Lance Leipold, has been amazing. I mean, people now are having those expectations for the first time, which is different for
Imagine
KU
this
football.
Conversation 4 years ago.
I know,
Yeah,
it's I mean,
wild.
Winless, just just a few seasons
like the
ago.
laughing stock of college football.
Yeah, I mean,
to a powerhouse, a legitimate Big 12 contender.
Coming into a program, you can't ask for any more than what Coach Lance Leipold has done for this program, and pretty close game there in the Sunflower Showdown last year. A couple plays helped K-State get that win, and so
you were there with me, right? Were you there? Yeah. We were on the end zone line. On the far side. Yep.
KU closing the gap for sure, and I talked to Brian Haney, voice of the Jayhawks, a lot, and when we talk about this football team, it's no longer the Jayhawks are coming; it's we're here. And Travis Goff, AD, done an incredible job. Obviously, they're getting brand new stadium, and so games are going to be played here at Children's Mercy Park as well as Arrowhead this year, which will be exciting for those of us here in Kansas City. So that's going to be fun. But no, I'm excited for it, and it's really hard though to look at the Big 12 right now because it is going to look completely different with the departure of a couple teams and the arrival of several new teams. So definitely going to have to do my research. Haven't quite dove into that yet, but I can maybe talk about a couple players for
40
each team.
days or so, yeah. I think the key, and to keep it simple for KU is going to be, can Jalen Daniels stay healthy? And that sounds pretty simplistic, but we're talking about a Heisman candidate the last couple of years who was not just in like the local. It's not just us saying, I think you should be a Heisman candidate. You guys should put your eyes on this guy. He's in the national conversation for that. But he's just been really injury ridden. And so my hope, and I think everyone's hope, is that we can get a healthy season out of him. He can prove to the pros, hey, I'm capable. of making it through a season. You know, I had a couple bad breaks, but now I'm good to go. And this KU team, I mean, we could be legitimately talking about a Big 12 championship appearance if he's able to stay healthy. And I'm excited for, you know, Avery with K-State. That's going to be a lot of fun. We got a sneak peek of what he could do last season with an entire offseason under his belt. That should be a powerhouse as well.
Yeah, I know he's been putting on some weight. He's been in the weight room, which is going to be key for him because obviously we saw him, you know, have some really great plays and opportunities last year, but maybe just looking a little small when you get up against a big defense in the Big 12. But, I mean, he's as special as they come, especially right out of high school in his true freshman season. Him kind of taking the ropes when K-State needed it most and helping him to get that bowl game win was amazing to see. As well as you mentioning Jalen Daniels, when he is healthy, he's as good as they come as well. And he deserves every accolade and national conversation that he finds his name in. It's going to be a lot of fun. Then you add in, too, his receivers that he gets back. So Luke Grimm, you know, Quentin Skinner and Lawrence Arnold Jr. that we saw last year. I mean, those guys that he has around him and the targets that he can throw to, it's going to be a lot of fun to play in that KU offense.
Yeah. Real quickly, before we let you go here, Royals and A's tonight. Royals in the midst, or kind of at the tail end now, officially at the tail end now, of a just brutal stretch against, you know, some of the top teams in the MLB. You get a bit of a break with the A's tonight. Swept them when they were in Kansas City. A's on a 9-game losing streak. But again, have to take care of business. It's 0-0 heading into the night. We got an 8:40 first pitch.
Yep, little late game.
And there we are. Yep. Kind of your thoughts going into this series and, you know, kind of the final stretch here before the All-Star break.
Well, first of all, so sorry, Mizzou. I think you're going to have a great season, too. We didn't
yeah, we have a lot of time.
We're running out
of
time.
We'll get there.
But Royals, yes, been such a fun season. Already over 40 wins. I haven't looked. I know back when they got, like, their 25th win, it was, like, way into the summer. And so I can imagine, I don't have an exact date for you, but the 40 wins hasn't happened last year till, like, probably August. I don't know. It was a long time. So it's been so much fun to have these wins kind of rolling in for the Royals. And you talk to Matt Quatrero, and he tells you, like, we're going to go through a rough stretch. Like, it's baseball, right? I mean, there's no other really sport that you can be the better team, and you might lose be the better team and lose 4 out of 10 games. I mean, that's just how baseball works. But they did go through their tough stretch. They saw the Yankees. They saw the Dodgers most recently, 2 of the premier teams in the MLB. Would have liked for them, obviously, to maybe snag a win or 2 more out of those series. But now you're going to get the Athletics, who are last in their division. I think they're 17 games back in their division. This is a team where the Royals have to capitalize. They have to, you know, prove that when you play a team like this, we truly are the better team. And I don't mind if they drop a game. Like I said, it's the nature of the sport. But they need to definitely come out of this series with at least 2, hopefully a sweep of the Athletics. Another interesting point is they're going to get the Marlins as well as the Rangers, both teams under 500 as well in this month, and then close out June with a series versus the Guardians, who are obviously leading the AL Central.
There. Yep.
I think they're 5 games back right now, and the Guardians are now entering their tough stretch. And so this is going to be the really key moment that the Royals can make up some ground before the All-Star break.
Yep, yeah. I think the saying goes, this too shall pass. They've made it to the light at the end of the tunnel. It's not going to last forever, and now, as you said, the Guardians going into a tough stretch here, so certainly an opportunity to make up some ground. Bethany, thank you so much for your time today, and love having you on the show, but we don't have to say goodbye because we'll see you back here right tomorrow.
Oh, I'm excited. Okay, see you back. Thank you so much.
Guys.